Tourism industry could boost employment and economic growth. But with the looming threats of ongoing load shedding and an outdated visa system, is enough being done by a government to attract visitors? Well, to discuss this, I'm joined by the newly appointed CEO of the Federated Hospitality Association of Southern Africa, Zama. Good evening and congratulations.
Good evening. Thank you, Vuya.
Well, first of all, before I get to what I said we're going to talk about, I mean, your organization, I'm always fascinated by how you bring together these big international convention centers, the big hotel chains, and then little, B&Bs and the small guy who is involved in tourism. Are you really able to service everybody, and give them what they deserve?
Yeah, it's true. The organization, you can say it's almost a broad church in that regard, but quite sector specific. And what we do, we have programs that look after the small guys and the big partners in the industry. For example, the smaller partners will probably be looking more for assistance in costing, training and costing. We're coming up now with an envelope program that is going to be assisting the industry to be more sustainable in what we do. The big beneficiaries of that will be the smaller players that do not have the massive resources to do some of these things. So the training and the workshops that we're coming up will assist them. Whereas the big partners are looking more for direction in terms of policy that affects the environment. So we try and take care of everybody in the sector, and we've managed that successfully for 70 years. So we'll continue to do so.
Now, from what we keep on being told is that tourism has this potential to be a big employer, and government keeps on saying, it is assisting, like the visas. For instance, when we're talking about the stimulus, when we realized that our economy was in trouble, stimulus package was announced, and among those things was a focus on visas, so that there is a better regime in place that will allow people, especially from Asian countries, but also our traditional sources of tourism. But has that really been happening on the ground? I mean, are you feeling that?
Well, there are plans in place to make that possible now.
Is that what they have remained? Plans?
At this point in time, it is plans because it is the industry. It's not necessarily effective and in place as we speak. So, but the government is working hard to make that possible because
where is the? You're not being courteous here, and really. Saying, oh, they are doing something because they promised to do something, when in reality, actually nothing has happened. I remember the CEO of SA Tourism coming here and saying, look at Asia, look at the numbers we're talking about in China alone, but what you have is one office in Beijing serviced by 3 people. In other words, saying there is just no way you can actually tap into that very lucrative market in the way that you actually should. I would imagine that nothing has changed from what you've just told me, if I read between the lines.
Well, practically, the tap has not been switched on. So we're waiting for that to happen. Government is working to have those systems implemented. Technology is here. We can't run away from it. And we know that in this sector, it is a game changer. It will certainly open markets that otherwise would have been almost difficult to tap into. So we are looking forward, and as an industry, we are putting pressure for Home Affairs to make that e-visa systems really switched on as soon as possible.
What for you are the biggest challenges facing your industry right now?
Well, the South African economy is down, so our industry does get affected because a lot of people, whether it's government or industry as such, they will cut down on travel. They will use video conferencing and all sorts of other means to cut down on expenses. So travel becomes one of those early casualties, and entertainment and so forth. And as a sector, we not looking after just the accommodation sector. We have the restaurants as well, which do get affected when those taps dry out. And obviously, the big challenge is having access from the e-visa segment. If that is sorted, when our economy is down, it helps to have the international tourists come in and balance us out, because we need both sectors to be vibrant. Domestic tourism is a very big part of that. So as our economy is at this point where it is right now, international tourism would have been a very good support to keep our market going.
So if your short lefts aren't really, working or aren't giving you what you would want, and on the other hand, there isn't a great deal of movement with regard to whether it's e-visas or at those centers overseas, so that are supposed to be serviced by your Home Affairs and everybody else. What then are you doing as the sector now to say, because you have to do something, because you obviously can't sit on your laurels, but what are you doing, or what are you able to do?
Well, we have industry programs where we do destination marketing from all angles to encourage tourists to come to South Africa. The rand is on our side in a sense that the international tourists coming in, the rand-dollar exchange does give them that advantage to come to South Africa as an attractive destination. But again, we are competing with other countries in that space. So we have to increase our efforts, which has been ongoing, to say, hey, South Africa is a destination of choice, and we have fantastic places to see, fantastic activities to do. We're here open for business.
Well, we wish you the best
Thank you very much.
of luck as things stand. Lisa.